living in paradise, in the Garden of Eden. A garden, a beautiful garden, filled with trees, filled with things that grow. You ever go into a garden? You know the feeling. If you become one with nature itself and all its complexities and all its interconnectivities. Today we know the wisdom of trees, the wisdom of roots. There's a whole ecosystem, a whole life. Books have been written about it, studies. Well, trees are not just this inanimate entity. They have a wisdom and they actually interact with each other in their own way. And this is where the human being was placed, in the garden. Garden of Eden. A pure, innocent place. To do what? To serve and to protect. No business can function without a mission statement. Can you? I created a special course. Discover your personal mission statement. Check it out in the description below. To serve and protect this environment. To serve and protect the garden, but also serve and protect the garden within us. That child within us. Some call it today the inner child. That's the story. But then we will be tempted. There will be a point in every person's life when they will be faced the tree of good and evil. The tree of knowledge of good and evil. Now, it's not about knowing good and evil if we're perceiving it. It's about experiencing it. When they're told, do not eat from this tree, it was meant to be a statement. Know that there's good and evil. Know you have two paths. But that doesn't mean you have to taste of every path. Doesn't mean you have to experience it. And that's where we often make the mistake. We say, well, I know about it. I might as well taste it. I might as well experience it. But once you do, something changes. You become self-conscious. You become someone that in a way becomes split. A dissonance is born. Think of it, the concept of where subject and object all dissolve and melt into one. You're standing in front of a beautiful painting. You're listening to a beautiful song. You're observing the eloquence of nature. There's a point where you get absorbed by it, where you don't even have the ability to say, oh, I'm looking at something. Oh, I'm listening to something. You become it, like a fish in water. You don't say the fish gets wet. You become wetness. Becomes a state of being. Love is not just a verb, an action, but it's a state of being. It's who you are. And in the purest form of it, you become so immersed, like when you're absorbed in reading a book, you don't even realize you're turning the pages. You don't realize it's words on a page. You can literally cry and laugh and be horrified or be exuberant by the story. That's an example. As soon as that spell breaks and object and subject separate, there's me. Oh, and I read a great book. I saw a beautiful movie. I saw a beautiful sight. I heard a great song. There are two entities. It could still be beautiful, but now your consciousness is separate from the consciousness of the experience. And that's what happened when they eat from the tree of knowledge, and that's what happens when we lose our innocence. Children are not self-conscious in any way until you make them self-conscious. That's why they explore with free abandon. And there's that beauty, that thing that it draws us is that seamlessness. Seamlessness is a good word for it. And the stark contrast to seamlessness is dissonance, is a split. And that split is the story of the knowledge, to know. To know is to be intimate, is in the biblical sense of the word, to be intimate. Not just that you know because you read about it. You experience it. And once you taste from the forbidden fruit, you now have created a new life, a new experience. But all is not lost. So even though Adam and Eve are expelled from the Garden of Eden, because they've tasted from the forbidden fruit, then all of us will be expelled. That's because once you don't have that innocence, once you don't have that seamlessness, it's not a matter. You just cannot exist in a seamless place. Seamlessness will not tolerate, will not be able to accept. It'll spit out anything that's not seamless. Duplicitous people create a duplicitous world, a hostile world. But we never forget. We're always looking toward the east. We're always looking to find out where that Eden is, where that rosebud is, where that utopia is. We're always looking for that unity. Essentially, that's the search for attachment, for connection. Many times, unfortunately, we look for attachment and connection in the wrong places. That's called addiction. You become addicted to something that controls you instead of you controlling it. But it's still the search for attachment. If you study an addict, in any type of addict, a gambling, alcohol, drugs, sex addiction, any other form of addiction, there's this passionate obsession. What is the obsession? The obsession is the search to connect to something. However, you're connecting to something that takes control, enslaves you, and turns you into what an addict becomes. Nobody sets out to become an addict. It always comes from, I'm looking for something. You can't find healthy water to drink when you're thirsty. You're going to drink something that's not healthy. But you're going to be passionate about it. You're not neutral. You're not mediocre. So we all look for attachment. We all look for connection. Indeed, we began our lives 9 months, completely submerged in the embryonic fluids during pregnancy. So we're really all part of a higher entity. That's what it symbolizes. And then the umbilical cord is cut, and we become an independent individual. But we're always looking to be attached. The key is to find healthy attachments, productive ones, not ones of dependency, not ones that take control over you. So the search for love and the search for paradise are synonymous, and it's all about reconnecting, reintegrating, regaining our innocence. And because the innocence never was truly lost, it just was disconnected from us, then that means that you can always find it. Never ever give up. That's the real end of the story. So even though Adam and Eve are expelled, sadly, from the Garden of Eden, from paradise, and yet they don't give up searching. They build a family, and that family continues to search. Unfortunately, there's always the other side of things, because this attachment can also be misunderstood, can be abused, and lead to attachment to self-indulgence and to worshiping things that are the opposite of transcendence and uplifting and refined life. But that's the battle. But it's also the beauty of it, the beauty and the beast, you can say. Two sides, the search for paradise, to regain our innocence. So how do you do that? So you need to connect the things that we know are innocent and pure. That's called your soul. So soulful activities are the way back to paradise. They're the way back to unity. Materialism divides, spirituality unites. Because the material world, by definition, that conscious world that's very self-conscious about itself and its needs, is a separator. Yes, we may negotiate a deal, even a relationship, give and take, but it's a separator because what's yours is yours, what's mine is mine, and then we see whether there's something that we have in common that we benefit from one another. When you're talking about true innocence, innocence doesn't think that way. Innocence is in the moment. It's in the experience. So, as adults, when we're able to gain that place of love and trust, what we're doing is reconnecting in that profound way. And we're revealing the paradise within us all. So it's about finding spiritual activities. You probably heard me speak lately about immersing yourself in your spiritual spa. SPA is an acronym for study, prayer, action. Cognitive conditioning, emotional conditioning, and behavioral conditioning. Every day, immerse yourself in your soul, immerse your soul in your spiritual spa. Study something meaningful, spiritual, sublime. Emote a prayer, a poem, a song. That's submerging your emotions into that place. So it's not just an intellectual mind game. And finally, actions, acts of kindness, of selflessness, volunteering, helping another. You do that on a daily basis. What you're doing is not just soothing yourself, not just helping you grow, helping you regain the true you, the pre-innocent, the pre-loss of innocence you, the paradise within yourself, the paradise within the world around us. That is the essential story of the first and most popular, most famous biblical narrative of all, the story of the Garden of Eden. Now, there's so much more that can be said. There's the connection to sexuality, where initially they did not feel naked because they were not self-conscious, like newborn children. Young children are not conscious. Why should they be? Why is sexuality not part of the beautiful parts of the universe? But then they lose that. They lose the innocence. They become self-conscious. Now I'm aware that I'm naked. The story of love, male and female, were one. Human being was created in the divine image as one entity, and then split, again a split, a dissonance. And that dissonance, its goal is that each part look for each other, hence the concept of soulmate. Not joining, rejoining, not uniting, reuniting. And so much more when you read into the verses of the biblical story of the Garden of Eden. You come away with the most important essential messages for life itself. So, to leave you with a final punchline, love is there for your taking, but you have to prepare yourself. You have to prime yourself for healthy love. Not just love that serves your needs, a love that's transcendent, a love that unites, a love that connects you to a place beyond your defense mechanisms, transcends the world of duplicity, of dissonance, of hostility, and all the other forces that push us away. So blessing you that each of you find that loving person in your life, embrace it, and bring yourself to it. Ask someone, I want to celebrate vulnerability with you for the rest of my life. That's what a true love forever after experience is like. Not one based just on needs. You'll get your needs met, but don't let it begin and end with your needs. Let it begin and end with something beyond you and beyond the other, something transcendent, something that connects you to the soul. And use the spa, the contemplation, the cognitive and the emotional and the and behavioral conditioning to immerse that soul and give it the nurturing and nourishment it deserves. Just like the flowers in a garden. Yes, a garden. The Garden of Eden, paradise. They need to be nourished. And how do you nourish a flower? You water it. You water it with love, with care, with concern. And starting with your own flower. Give it the patience, give it the care, give it the time of day. We're always rushing. And we have no doubt that when you follow these guidelines and embrace them, and especially in a continuous manner, that you can create really sustainable love in your life and a sustainable paradise, turning your home, your family, your community into a true garden. Completely doable. And then there's the ripple effect of each of us sharing it with one another, which of course only amplifies that power that we can turn the entire world into a grand cosmic garden, grand symphony of beauty, harmony within diversity. Thank you so much. This has been Simon Jacobson, Meaningful Life Center, meaningfullife.com, where you can see this and many other programs, a robust schedule, a menu of different offerings for different ages and different types and different subjects. Check it out at meaningfullife.com, and please share. Please share this with your friends, with others. And I'd love to hear your feedback, thoughts, comments, questions, rebuttals. Everything is welcome. May we together build this beautiful paradise and rebuild and regain our innocence and regain the beauty that even in a world that can be externally filled with toxins, we can emerge with a whole new level of eloquence and elegance in the poetry of our lives. Thank you so much, and be well.